You are watching On Demand. Please do not try to vote or enter any competition or other interactivity in this programme, as it may not count and you may still be charged.
Hello and welcome to your final Loose Women of the Week. Kick-starting the weekend in style alongside me, Kay Adams. It's Sunetra Sarkar, Linda Robson and Nadia Sowal. Coming up, one of us is keeping a dirty secret. It sent shockwaves through the Loose Women team this morning. Linda's confused. Find out which one of us still has her Christmas trees plural, up. We are asking how superstitious you are. At 1 p.m, author and documentary maker Kate Muir is going to be here tackling the menopause taboos that many women are still afraid to ask about. And she'll be telling us about a new wonder drug on the horizon, an alternative to HRT that could mean the end of the dreaded hot flushes. And they are Hollywood's hottest property. Recently engaged Machine Gun Kelly has revealed he designed Megan Fox's engagement ring with thorns so that it hurts if she takes it off, because love is pain. You can hear her thoughts on that at 1:50. You don't need to hear Linda's thoughts because she just got... What I would like to know is that when she wants him to put the bins out, and I know that's sexist and I apologise, does she say, Machine Gun, would you mind putting the bins out? I mean, what does she call him, like, in normal life?
That's not his real name, right?
Mashy, Gunny,
MG.
MG, yeah. Good. Before we start with this, I have to tell you, had breakfast with Nadia this morning.
Yeah.
We didn't spend the night together, just in case you're wondering. I'm
don't want to kick that one off again.
So she paid the bill, which is quite unusual in itself, to be honest.
I think it might not be.
Don't start her off again.
And so the server was over there, and Nadia's looking over at the server going... And I'm thinking, what is she doing here?
No, you do that, don't you? You do that.
No, it's Jane Moore. She's put the fear of God into me because her kids said it's the most embarrassing old age thing you can do, is that.
Can I have the check,
So I
please?
started going tick, because that's how we pay now.
No.
But I'm not sure whether I've made myself even less cool.
I'm cringing slightly for you.
Yeah, maybe people could let us know whether
Go
I
back
made
to the
myself
old
less
ways.
cool.
Nothing wrong with that. Can we have the bill, please?
It was cringy, I can tell you. We don't need the viewers. We need to get in touch with that one. Right, we're starting off with some other showbiz news this morning. Adele has announced that she is postponing her entire Las Vegas residency. Now, this is just 24 hours before the opening night, which I think was supposed to be tonight, wasn't it? Here's her apology.
I'm so sorry, but my show ain't ready. We've been absolutely destroyed by delivery delays and COVID. Half my crew, half my team are down with COVID. They still are. We've been awake for over 30 hours now trying to figure it out, and we've run out of time. I'm so upset and I'm really embarrassed, and I'm so sorry to everyone that's travelled again. I'm really, really sorry. I'm really sorry.
Well, she's had a really mixed response. Lots of her fans saying that they understand, others saying that they feel very let down because many of them had already travelled to Las Vegas to see her. So what's your initial reaction to that, Sunetra?
I want specifics. I need some more details.
Like
I
what?
get the apology. I get there's a heartfelt feeling behind it, but I want specifics. Why exactly have you cancelled something that my friend might be on a plane right now on their way to? I think
what detail would make it better for you? I mean, she said, obviously, we know that COVID has been incredibly difficult for so many big events, and she said that the supply chains, which we know... I mean, what detail is going to make you feel better?
But that's like calling in sick for work and not saying why. You know, I'm just not coming in. Can you be a bit more specific? I'm not feeling great. Be more specific. I've broken my leg. Oh, there we go. Now we know why you can't come.
Really?
I think you need some sort of, you know, especially for the people who've invested. We haven't sat there and spent maybe half our wages
God, I think
on a
that's
flight.
pretty hard, I have to say. I was really touched by it.
No, but I think you can be touched by it, but also be touched by the fact that a lot of people are now in Vegas, having saved up and paid for the flights and invested in the excitement and all of that. And what I saw
she's
there,
not got
watching
magic
it again,
wand, has
was
she?
I think she's gone into that place of she's obviously very frightened. She's very upset that she couldn't deliver the show that she could have. But what I would be feeling now if I had a ticket and I'm in Vegas already waiting for her, and I'm a huge fan of Adele's, I would say, just come out on a stool with a mic. You can't give us
And
the
a backing
Vegas
track.
show. Yeah, and just sing for us. Because the thing about Adele is, and people that I know that love Adele, it is this extraordinary voice. So maybe she just needs to rethink and go, I can't deliver the show I could, and I will put that on. But for all those people that arrived in Vegas, come round tonight and I'll just sing
and she might well do that.
And she might do that,
She
but
might
I think
well
she
do
needs
that.
to do something
So we
like
can't
that.
prejudge it. But in that moment, you know, we've all been there these last 2 years, haven't we? We've all had massive disappointments. We've all had things that we've desperately wanted to do and we've tried to do. And because of all of these extraordinary things that are happening, it just hasn't been able to come to pass. Surely this last 2 years, if nothing else, has taught us a level of understanding. I'm going to channel Cher here, Las Vegas, a little bit of love and understanding. You know, and to be adaptable. I get it. People are going to be gutted, but people have been gutted about weddings that have been cancelled, about holidays that have been cancelled, about all the terrible things that have happened in the last 2 years.
That's the government that's cancelled them. Those people.
Well, no, it's COVID that's cancelled them.
The COVID has, but she hasn't specifically said my bass player, my drummer, my backing singers have fallen. Little bit of elaboration would help. And also, we haven't invested X amount of money, which we would have spent on, let's be honest, things we know may not have been cancelled, all the way in Vegas. If this was Wembley, I think we wouldn't be quite as
She's
surprised.
cancelled a couple of London dates as well. What do you think, Linda?
I'm just thinking about the people that have travelled to Las Vegas, the people that have
they'll
been
be
saving up
gutted.
for their tickets. You've got to pay for your aeroplane, you've got to pay for your hotel, you've got to pay for your tickets,
Cab to the airport,
food and whatever. I mean, it
horrendous.
must have cost them an absolute fortune. So where do they stand in this? Maybe Adele should have helped out with some of the flights and whatever. I mean, she's earning a fortune for it as well.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to be
500 grand a
careful. I mean, the decision was made last night.
Yeah.
She put that out, you know, last night. The concert was supposed to be out, the residence was supposed to start. Maybe she should have called it earlier. That might be an argument.
But in answer to what you were saying, and I do get what you're saying, you know, the past 2 years we've all learned to deal things in a different way, be less judgy, all that sort of stuff.
But we haven't.
But
we're so angry.
No. But taking what you've just said there, Adele and her team also need to think about that. These are people that have had a really rough couple of years as well, that have invested, and I like that word, invested money, basically, in this trip. And their disappointment should have been managed better. I think could have said, we're working on an idea, maybe Adele will sing for you tonight, those that are already here. And it wasn't. It was just about how difficult it was for her, how awful it was for the team. And actually, there are people sat in Vegas having spent a fortune with possibly nowhere to go tonight. And I think they needed to think
you've
more
always
about
got somewhere
those
to
people.
go in Vegas.
No, but I think they needed to think more about those people. Her team, her PR team should have said, how can we make these people feel like we're giving them something? Because they've been through a lot as well. It's not just Adele who's been through a pandemic. It's them, too, that have been through a pandemic. Do you know
But
what I mean?
it feels like there's no apology that is ever going to be good enough from anyone anymore, because it's not the apology that you specifically want.
No,
it didn't cover exactly. I mean,
people would understand.
I mean, when you say you wanted detail, I don't know what detail would have made a difference. I thought it was very raw. It's obviously been an absolute blooming disaster. I believe her when she says they've tried to the very last minute and it just didn't happen.
But it feels like she's tried to get the show that they'd planned, which was this perfect, huge Vegas show. And maybe she's just at that place where she's going to have to accept you might not be able to deliver that one, but what could you deliver? Just come and sing. Just come and sing. Sit on a stool and sing for these people. But it is hard as an artist to give up what your image and your dream was of your show.
You want to give your fans the best you can.
But the show must go on. And I think maybe the difference is, as free actresses, we're going, you couldn't possibly not come out on the stage when everybody's
I've
there.
actually thrown up on stage and carried on as well. Been sick in a bucket.
I wish I'd been there to see that, Linda, I have to say. I would have been looking for a refund, quite frankly. Oh, well, there you go. It's not often I'm the nice one. Right, on to some shocking
I don't
news.
think the Adele fans stuck in Vegas are going to think you're the nice one.
Well, I know. Listen, I know it's tough. We've all had a lot of disappointments this last 2 years. Some shocking news this morning. Now, this is really shocking. Forget Adele. One of us has been keeping a terrible secret. Who is it? Who is it? Which one of us has not one, not two, but 3 Christmas trees still up? There you go.
And a snow village.
Don't
leave my snow village out
Snow
of this.
village.
It's practically February.
I know, but my snow village, when I come in and it's all twinkling and like, that's not my snow village. That's
No,
that's that's one of my trees.
You're just lazy.
No, do you know what? When you get up, don't look at the mess. When you get up, when I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's dark and I feel all miserable and it's January and I turn on those lights. I feel so lovely. There's my snow village. It just, I'm really reluctant to give it up.
Well, I tell you what, you're clearly not superstitious. There's a lot of people that are going to be looking at that and they're going to be beside themselves.
People get really angry with me. They say, why have you still got up? So
12
unlucky.
days after Christmas, it's got to come down, otherwise you're doomed for the rest
Says
of the
who?
year.
Well, I don't believe
Says who?
Says, I don't know, it's a
Father
superstition.
Christmas?
Yeah, Father Christmas. Yeah.
It's the 12th night. It's the 12th night.
It is.
Christmas.
Of Christmas.
So
yes.
is that a COVID Christmas? Is that a normal Christmas?
January the 5th is the night that it should come down, or else it's going to be awful.
I think that's hocus pocus, because for me, I'm with Nadia on this, because I brag about how long I keep my lights up, especially because when you plug in those lights, you can't deny. We have a thing in this country where you go to the lights being switched on because we know it looks so amazing. You do that in your own living room and it makes you feel good. Why do we want to stop it at 12 days? I take
Because
it all
it's
the way
not
into
Christmas
February.
And
anymore.
because
But you're
it's
not
unlucky.
You're not. Is there anything you are superstitious about?
Well, let me just finish this. The lights are going up in my house forever. And because Scott and I do a week as a husband and wife and a week as an the week he was there, I was at work and he took everything down when he wasn't meant
Because he was worried about you being doomed.
That's exactly it. He was worried about
So were you furious with him?
I was like, where's it? Wow. He's put them all away, nice and packed.
What a lovely man.
I know.
Oh, that's a keeper if you do
Yeah.
Send him round to her house.
Yes, come on, Steve.
I'm doomed, but you can have him after I'm doomed.
I'll need him sometime in March.
I know.
That's all right.
Are you superstitious?
I pick and choose my superstitions because I come from my mother's really superstitious and you just have to sift through them. There's so many. One of them is that if you're leaving the house, right, and I say bye to you, after you've said bye to me, I can't call you back because that's really bad luck. So
What
if
have
I
you
go,
forgotten your
okay,
phone or something?
my mum would go, don't call that back. Now you would have to come back into the house and we have to have a little conversation. I'll go, bye. And then I can't call you back again. That's a superstition my mum has instilled in me. I now have that. But worse than that is feet on paper. And I think this might be a slightly more Indian cultural myth that because you walk in the dirty floor with dog poo, why would you then put your feet on a book? You shouldn't put your feet on anything you learn knowledge from. And that's something that I've kept. But I definitely don't do the walking under... I mean, ladders and...
It's just a bit silly to
shoes
walk
on
under
the
a ladder. Someone
table.
might fall on you.
Yeah, well, no, because if they're on the ladder, they'll go that way. If you go under the... Arguably, it's the safest way to go if you're trying to avoid somebody falling on you, aren't you? This is a whole different conversation,
Are there
isn't
any
it?
great Scottish superstitions?
Well, oh, God, there's loads. My mum was so superstitious. If you came in one door, you had to go out that door. If you went out another door, like if you had a back door and a front door, oh, my God, that was just terrible.
How would you work in a farce on stage when you have to get
I know, it was like
entrance and
Brian
exit
Rex.
on stage?
Didn't you like to tell me about a Hogmanay one, though?
Hogmanay. Yeah. Hogmanay, New Year's Eve, yeah. If you're your first food, so that's the first person that comes to your house, you know, after the bells. So that's going to bring you good luck. So it has to be, well, you say tall, dark and handsome. I guess we don't say that anymore, but it was a tall person with dark hair. And they had a lump of coal because that would give you warmth, you know, for the year. And one year, one of my brother's friends came round, had bright red hair, shocker red hair, and he brought a tin of shortbread. Very Scottish, I do apologise. It was snowing. The poor guy was out there for like an hour before we finally got a neighbour to come. We had to phone him up and say, Stan, would you come round?
Before you left through the door?
Yeah. Ah!
That's
Kiddo, I'm sorry, son.
Days
I'm
go-
sorry, son, you can't come in. You've got red hair and that's shortbread. Anyway, after the break, as the AA is being criticised for not prioritising a woman who broke down on her own in the dark because of equality, but should women always be prioritised? And at 1 o'clock, over half of women say it has negatively affected their sex life. We'll be tackling menopause taboos with author Kate Muir. Welcome back. Still to come at 1 o'clock, how to take control of your menopause. We'll be talking to the woman behind Davina McCall's recent menopause documentary. That's campaigner Kate Muir. And she's going to be telling us about an exciting new drug for people who can't take HRT. But it's competition time now. Lines are closing in a matter of hours, so don't dilly-dally. It's your chance to win £70,000 and a Range Rover. Here's Jeff Brazier with all the details.
Woo. Hello, lovely ladies, and welcome to Dubai. I'm just enjoying, just soaking up the rays, enjoying the Abra ride here around the Madinat Jumeirah, and celebrating as well the fact that one of you lucky viewers is going to get the chance to win our prize package worth over an epic £120,000. So if you're interested, listen to this. It starts with the money, the £70,000 in tax-free cash that the ITV bank account will be transferring into yours. Just imagine that. And if we've got the money sorted out, we can then look at what you're driving. How about a Range Rover hybrid worth over £50,000? It's an incredible prize package, but remember, lines close at 3 p.m. today. So pick up the phone, get your entries in, and good luck.
For another chance to win, text prize to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 78 119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY01 PO Box 7558 Derby DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close today at 3 p.m. Good luck!
Now, the AA breakdown service has been slammed after telling a caller it doesn't prioritise call-outs based on gender. The woman who'd broken down alone at night in the dark took to Twitter to complain that the AA handler had told her she's going to be treated the same as a lone man because that's equality. Now, the AA have since apologised, said breakdowns involving a lone woman receive the highest level of care if the customer raises concerns, and that handlers use common sense. So, Nadia, should women be prioritised?
Well, my immediate response to this morning was, yes, of course, because a woman on her own at night, on a road, terrified. Immediately went to, I'm a terrified person on my own. But, of course, as we've talked and thought about it more, it is more complicated than that. But what I really don't like that is that's equality. I hate that when it's used in that way, because, of course, we want equality. Of course, we're all feminists. But, of course, at the same time, there are certain situations we are more vulnerable just by our sex. But I suppose fear is just relative to whatever your situation is. You're right, sweetie. Yeah, I'm right. Fear is relative to whatever your situation
but
is.
statistically, women are the people out of the both genders are at more danger. However, we have to think about individual cases. We're talking about AA. We've all got a different story on how we've broken down. We haven't got the same situation. I haven't broken down in the same street you have. I don't know how dangerous that, you know, your incident is to mine. So we need a human at the end of the phone rather than a robot where you press 1 to say, I've broken down, or 2, you need... You know, if you're speaking to a real person, they have to make a judgment call, because I don't like the thought of all women getting grouped to... You can get to push the queue and go above all the guys who've broken down, because that's also
I think
not
they
fair.
have said they are real handlers, and I know this is potentially throwing a grenade into the room, but is that in danger of playing the woman card?
It's playing the fear card. What you need to do is play the fear card, not the woman card. We can't say she's playing the woman card, because she must maybe want...
a lone woman at night, you know, that's the detail that you're given. That's a significant detail that you're given.
I don't know what playing the woman card means. It's not a game that we feel very vulnerable at night on our own out on a street. It's not a card, it's a reality. I wish it was a game. I wish I could say, oh, I'm going to play the lone woman card. I wish for that. It's not, it's a reality. But also, it would be a reality if your son...
But that's the whole thing. There's a whole list of vulnerabilities. There's your age, there's your gender, there's where you are, there's what time it is.
That's why I think what Sinatra says is the fear card. It's like, how frightened are you in that situation?
That is a very difficult decision for the call handler to exercise common sense in, because who can quantify an individual's fear?
I don't think most women, I'd like to think, wouldn't play the fear card if they weren't feeling the fear. You know, if I had broken down in a supermarket car park, I don't think I'll be playing the fear card in the same way I would if it was 10 o'clock at night and I was in the middle of a motor on my own.
Yeah, but if you're the handler, let's put yourself in the place of the handler who's sitting there and they have got a whole list of people, they've got a limited number of people to go out to see them, and they've got an elderly gentleman who is 75, who is very confused and doesn't really know what's doing. They've got your son who says, I've broken down in an area, it feels really, really, really heavy and I'm really worried about it. They've got somebody else with disability. I don't know, you could go through the list. What's the decision? I mean, would you like to think your son was given the same treatment as your daughter?
Yeah, I'd like to think that they'd both get the same treatment. In fact, my daughters would probably cope with it better than my son, because he'd be lost, he wouldn't have a clue what to do. And it all depends on where you've broken down. If it's in a country road somewhere and you're on your own and that, then obviously, no matter what, if it's a man or a woman, no matter who it is, you'd go to the person that needs you the most.
Yeah.
And they are the knights of the road, AA. You know, like they've been looking after us for many years now, and most of the time they do a really, really good job and they get to us as quick as they can and they sort out the problem really quickly.
Yeah. And they do say they take location.
They take location. So you're not going to be able to have that con of, like, saying, oh, I'm a woman, I'm on my own, I'm in a car park, in a supermarket, because they're going to know.
But I mean,
it's very difficult.
And it is, you know, just something we've come to live with nowadays because of Twitter and all these kind of immediate means of communication, that actually a very complex kind of situation gets reduced to a very simplistic, you know, binary yes or no, are women, you know, to be prioritised over men.
And I'll be honest, this isn't a story that we've heard repetitively over the years, like, oh, you know, did you hear about another AA leaving a woman stranded for 2 hours or whatever? So it does feel like maybe...
Because I've heard stories where they have come out at first because it's a woman.
Right.
Well,
it's difficult. I think we decided it's difficult.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not in the AA.
Difficult, that's what we've decided. That one is difficult. They've certainly saved
it's
my...
very difficult.
AA.
It's very, very difficult.
That's our considered opinion. It's really difficult. Coming up after the break, we'll be tackling the taboo menopause questions that many women are still afraid to ask, including how it affects your sex life and your relationship. That's with menopause campaigner Kate Muir. And at 1:20, is it selfish to ask someone to keep a secret for you? Well, if it's Linda we're talking about, it's just damn stupid. We'll see you after this.
I want to tell Lynn.
We've been at this for more than 20 years.
No way.
Taking on the toughest topics.
Fat shaming, equality, mental health.
But always coming out smiling.
We've absolutely got you covered.
Always together and always the matters that matter to you. Loose Women, weekdays at 12:30.
Welcome back to your Friday Loose Women alongside me, Kay Adams. It's Sinatra Sarkar, Nadia Sawalha and Linda Robson. Coming up at 1:15, Hollywood's latest it couple are at it again. Machine Gun Kelly, or MG, I think we've decided to call it. And Megan Fox's ring is embedded with sharp, thorny spikes that were she to try and take it off, it would hurt her. According to him, it's because love is pain. So does love always lead to pain? Now, it's set to affect 1 billion of us by 2025, a health issue that could lead to at least 1 million quitting their jobs here in the UK. I'm talking, of course, about the menopause. And yet, according to our next guest, it's still woefully misunderstood by doctors and society as a whole. So here to tell us how we could change that, please welcome the woman behind Davina's recent menopause documentary, Kate Muir. Hi, Kate. How are you?
Hey, thank you. Great to be on.
It absolutely is. Your new book out, everything you want to know about the menopause, but we're afraid to ask. And I believe Nadia is one of the inspirations that's quoted in there.
Nadia's in there because we're writing about what happens to your sex life in menopause and... let's get straight to the point.
Go!
Why waste time? So 50% of women have say menopause affects their sex life and it affects their relationships, and divorce peaks in perimenopause, just before menopause. And you did this fantastic podcast nearly a year ago, I think, talking about you and Mark and your relationship and how it really, really changed until you went on HRT.
Yeah.
And I think it's really moving for women to realise that maybe for years you won't understand what's going on, you think it's you, and in fact, it's your hormones.
Exactly. And I think the thing for me was once I went on HRT, I've actually been going in more so recently through this really guilty phase where I realised actually how difficult I was in those years. Well, I thought it was everybody else, a bit like PMT.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's been relationship changing for us.
Yeah, and let's really cut to the chase that for a lot of women, sex becomes painful because of vaginal dryness. And there is actually, I mean, obviously there's a load of views on HRT, which we can talk about. We were both reluctant, which we're honest about. But you can get a vaginal product, vaginal estrogen, which nobody kind of talks about here. But I believe in other countries, it's just kind of, yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about it here, though, and you can get it over the counter in Finland, and it's called Vagidona. And basically...
The way you said that is slightly comedy.
Let's just say it again. Say it again.
Vagidona.
Oh. With a Scottish accent, it's even better, isn't it?
It's a great name, though, and you can get it, all sorts of names here, Vagifem, Oveston. You can go into your GP and say, my vulva's a bit dry, I've been having UTIs, it's all not right down there, give me some vaginal estrogen, and they should give you it straight away. It's incredibly safe for everybody. And, you know, breast cancer survivors take it too. So it's not as if it's a tiny, tiny little bit of estrogen, you know.
So is that in place of HRT then?
No, that's just, you could use them both. But if you're not taking HRT, it really, really helps with dryness in the vulva, if we may say that at this time of day.
Yes, we may.
And, you know, 80% of women get this, right? That's what the doctors I've interviewed said. 80% of women, by the time they're older, are suffering from this, and yet they are not going into their GPs because they've never heard of it. I'd never heard of it 5 years ago. Did you hear of it?
Do you know what was so amazing was Davina was the first person on television to really talk about it. And this isn't like a little bit of dry skin. This is some women get to the point where they can't walk, where they can't cycle, where they can't, because they actually bleed. And she was the first person I'd ever seen talk about that. And I think now, and that's brilliant because there's so many women that are suffering that don't need to.
Yeah.
I've had friends that have had breast cancer and this hasn't even been discussed with them and they've been in agony for years.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why don't doctors tell as many women as should be knowing about it?
I don't think they know about it because I don't think they're educated enough about it. And they really, really we need a compulsory module for GPs. And I know that's part of your policy here, isn't it? That we need doctors to be better educated because doctors are fantastic and they're doing their best in all this situation. But if they were better informed on the different kinds of HRT and that all HRT is not the same.
But
and some
of medical schools don't even teach it.
Yeah.
How is that? Is that just misogyny?
Teach some form of it, but they just obviously don't go in depth on it. I mean, they must be taught.
It's not essential.
Really?
No, it's not essential.
Well, it's only half the planet.
It is 50% of the population that they're not learning about post a certain age.
You're talking about a huge piece of medical sexism that is 2,000, more than that. You know, years
that's
old.
what's really interesting,
massive.
isn't it?
Wow.
This has now become
is
political, hasn't it? And you really do grab that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we've been talking about the Make Menopause Matter movement, what happened with Caroline Harris in Parliament Square, making HRT free in England, or almost free in England. And I think we really, really need to get the message out to women that, you know, HRT is safe for most women. It will improve most women's lives, and we do not need to sit here and suffer. And one of the huge things that came out in my book, because I was in lockdown, I had nothing to do except interview scientists at midnight in America at Yale. You know, it was like, oh, that's what you do to the mice, okay? But what I found out was that taking transdermal estrogen, you know, through your skin or a patch, will then prevent you having osteoporosis on the whole, will really, really help with heart disease, helps with bowel cancer, you know, colon cancer and Alzheimer's and dementia. I mean, it's so important.
But have we moved to a position whereby, you know, women were very, very nervous of HRT because of a link with breast cancer, to everyone should be on it, because there'll be lots of women who don't want to be on any form of medication for the menopause, that they will want to handle it naturally. And we need to respect that choice too, don't we? I mean, so is there... you know, do you carve out space for that as well?
I've got a whole chapter in my book on that, and I think it's very important for people that have been through cancer who can't necessarily take HRT. And so there's really interesting stuff. I mean, one of the big things turns out to be exercise. Who knew? But it's not like tiny, you know, tiny bits of exercise, 20 minutes a day. And if you do exercise after cancer and you're in menopause, it reduces your chances of getting cancer again by 55%.
Good God.
You know, that's just the best pill on earth, isn't it? Exercise. So exercise, meditation, because we all get those perimenopausal anxiety and menopausal anxiety as the estrogen disappears. So meditating is really, really good. Nutrition is really, really good. Are all the supplements that you get in, you know, Holland and Barrett and Boots really, really good? There's not very great science on that, and I investigated it, and really, I also tested CBD oil on some of my friends, really high-grade CBD oil, and we had some good results with sleep with the people who'd gone through breast cancer, so that was good.
Yeah.
And there's a new drug coming out being tested, but we don't know enough about it yet, which involves the neurokinin B receptors in your brain, and basically it's cutting off the hot flush mechanism, and it's coming out 2023, maybe.
Okay.
So worth looking out for, particularly for the people who've been through cancer and can't take HRT. And, you know, the other thing I've realised in researching this book, a hot flush really affects your brain. It's not a funny thing. It's not like, you know, we all get hot flushes on our mugs now, you know what I mean? It's not a joke. What happens is that a huge amount of blood leaves the middle of your body and comes to the extremities. And the blood is leaving your brain to go to the extremities and make you sweat. And in that moment, you're doing a PowerPoint at work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where, you know, about 10% of, you know, your blood has left your brain. And so you really lose concentration. And it's not just the embarrassment of having a hot flush. There's a movement of what's happening in your body, and your fuel has left your brain. So if we can avoid hot flushes as much as possible, particularly us working women, and there are 4.5 million working women of menopausal age in Britain, so we really matter to the workforce, and not having hot flushes in the middle of when we're trying to do something important, or being a nurse
that'll be a
or
relief
doctor
for so many people that can't take HRT. What I'd just like to ask you just before we finish is about testosterone, because testosterone was like a rocket for me. That's all I'm saying. It was
taking notes over here, taking notes.
So in that, but also I really felt when I started on the progesterone and estrogen, but when the testosterone came in as well, something else shifted in mind, body, spirit, everything. But
you're talking about your libido.
You talked about. Yeah, all right, okay. We talked about, you know, you talked about the misogyny with this. Where does that come in with testosterone? Why can't people get it freely on the NHS? I don't understand.
What's women's biggest hormone? What do we make most of?
Testosterone.
Well done, everybody. But who else would know that apart from this
we've only found that out.
Because you're all on HRT and you all know about it. But it's really, really important for not just our libido, but our energy, our cognition, our fatigue. And I bet you found all of those things. It's in the NICE guidelines 2015, if you look them up. And it says women can ask for testosterone for libido on the NHS. But you find everywhere you go, people are referring you up to a menopause clinic. I've got a friend in Scotland who's waited a year for her referral to a menopause clinic for testosterone.
So can a woman go in today to a GP and say, I know it's my right, you have to give it to me?
I've tried twice, so I'm...
Wow.
I'm going to get into my book.
It's work in progress, isn't it? Listen, sadly, we're out of time. Thank you so much, Kate, for coming in. And, you know, hugely detailed research in your book. And I know you're working on another documentary with Davina, aren't you? Yeah. Looking at women at work. So we'll all be waiting for that one to come out. Kate, thank you so much. Coming up after the break, apparently the average woman can only keep a secret for 47 hours and 15 minutes. Hours? But is it selfish to ask someone to keep your secrets? And Hollywood rock star MG Kelly, machine gun to people who don't know him as well as we do, has admitted he designed fiancée Megan Fox's ring so it would hurt if she took it off because love is pain. Our thoughts on that next. You don't need to be a mind reader, quite frankly.
No, nothing hurts like love, so you gave.
Welcome back, Vagidonna. It's a new greeting. We've decided to go with it, haven't we? Vagidonna. How do you do?
Vagidonna.
Welcome back. In just a few minutes. I didn't hear that, and I'm so glad. But somebody just screamed at my ear, that's enough, Linda, so it wouldn't have been good. In just a few minutes, is it true that love inevitably causes pain? And is it selfish to ask people to keep secrets for you? Competition time again, and another reminder that lines close today at 3 p.m. £70,000 and a brand new car are up for grabs. Linda might not be here when you get back from this, but Jeff Fisher's got all the details.
Hi, people. We've got a delectable prize up for grabs. They've flown me all the way out to wonderful Dubai to tell you all about the big news, and that is that lines are closing in a matter of hours for your chance to win not one, but two incredible prizes for one lucky person. That could be you. It all starts with £70,000 in tax-free cash. I mean, you don't expect me to just look at it, do you? Just imagine what you could do with all that cash to spend. I mean, you can check into a fancy hotel like this, the Jumeirah Al Casa, and with views like that and lobbies like this, you may never want to leave. But that's not all. You've also got the Range Rover Hybrid worth over £50,000 with all the mod cons. Remember, lines close today at 3 p.m, so get your entries in now for another chance to win our sizzling hot prize package.
Text prize to 81119. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 78 119. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY01, PO Box 7558, Derby, DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines closed today at 3 p.m. Good luck!
Linda's still here. We locked the door. Security, you might hear a bit of banging outside. But
She is baggy mouth today. God.
We talked about their engagement last week, but Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox have given their first proper interview since he proposed. In it, Machine Gun Kelly revealed that the diamond and emerald ring that he designed for Megan has got thorns on it, so it's painful if she takes it off, because he says love is pain. So what do you make of that, Nadia?
Well, if I was her friend, I'd be going, red flag!
Red flag?
Red flag! I mean, it's going to be painful when you take your ring off. Is that
Will you marry me? Here you go. This might hurt.
It reminds me of what were
There's certain things that you need your
Chastity
hands
belts.
for, like
Chastity
to wipe your bottom and that. You'll have scratches all over it.
No,
won't
no.
you? Have you got like...
I think it only pops open if you try and pull it off.
It's like a roll plug.
Oh, OK.
That's the immediate thing that I think of, which says a lot about me. But, you know...
Like a raw plug.
Roll.
Roll plug.
But the basic sort of premise being love is pain. I mean, is that an association that you make?
Well, obviously they're Hollywood stars, so everything goes to a million times level. But I kind of, yes, I think there is pain involved in love. I mean, we used to laugh in our family when Maddie first came along. Mark and I'd be like, oh, my God, I can't bear it. I just love her so much. And Mark would say, I've got to smash my head into a wall. And I'm going to smash my fist, because we didn't know what to do with it, because it was just so overwhelming. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I was saying, oh, you know, what's the best thing about your baby? And she burst into tears. I went, no, the best thing. She goes, the love. It's so painful. And I said, yeah, it's almost like a burden sometimes when you really, really, really feel that love. I get it with my mum and dad now that they're old. Like, my dad the other day was so sweet. He was sat with his little pink beret and his little red scarf. And I said, Dad, shall I take you up to the South Bank? You know, we can go to the library at the National. And he turned to my mum and he just put his hand on and he said, would you like to come with me for a coffee to the South Bank? I thought I was going to die, just like the pain of it, how sweet they both looked. So, yes, but I don't think we need thorns to sort of, show that. But I think I've got a bit of what he means.
Yeah, it's just pain.
Well, no, from my POV, I think they're in that... you know, when you fall in love with someone and it's just you and him and you're just so intensely into each other and you've got your own little private jokes, your own language, your own intensity. And these guys are like poets and they're quite, like, out there, aren't they? They're like that. Remember Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob with the blood vessels?
Yeah.
And we all thought, what's that? But they clearly got it, right? These guys have got that thing. They're in that groove, and love is pain is their way. And I think love should be celebrated for all the good things it is, because we know when it's gone, that's when the pain comes. So
But do you not ever have the pain when you love somebody, when you go, oh, my God, I love them so much,
Yeah, but
it
it's
hurts.
a good pain. That's a good pain, whereas a scratchy finger is not a good pain. I mean,
Yeah, no,
I would put a wee bit of fleece inside it so that when... Because everyone plays with their wedding rings, don't they? I don't have one, but if I did, I'd play with it. Yeah, so imagine going, oh, ow!
I wouldn't wear a ring that hurt me.
But I do understand the pain, because I love my granddaughter so much that lots of times I think about, what if I'm not here when they get married? What if I'm not here when they have children and I've got great-grandchildren? And it really hurts. I feel pain then when I think about things like that.
Yeah. I think that is you feel pained.
Yeah.
And that is a really different thing from what he's saying, love is pain. I mean, I would never... I mean, Snoopy would not like that. Snoopy would hate that.
Neither would Winnie the Pooh.
Love is pain.
Or Piglet.
Definitely not.
Are we talking about your animals?
Do you not remember Snoopy? Love is.
Oh, you must remember
She's
Snoopy.
too young.
I do remember Snoopy the dog, the cartoon.
Yeah,
Yes, the cartoon, yes.
Yeah, I'll wait, Sinatra, I'll wait.
It was a lot more than a cartoon.
They're formerly married to Magic Mike actor Channing Tatum. Actress Jenna Dewan recently revealed that after her partner Steve Kazee proposed, she found out that her 7-year-old daughter had been in on the secret for 6 months. You know where this is going, don't you? The average woman apparently can only keep a secret for 47 hours and 15 minutes, whereas Linda, how long would you put it at, Linda?
47 seconds?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. There's been loads of things over the years that I've been told to keep secret. So I keep it secret from the people that it affects. Like when Lauren was getting married, and when Lauren got engaged, and when Lauren was pregnant with Lila, all of those times, like, because the other grandparents were away, so I wasn't allowed to tell anyone that she was pregnant. I was going to have my first grandchild. So I just told strangers. Cab drivers, people that worked in shops.
All of who will have recognised you, Linda.
But they're never going to get back to Laura. They're not going to find out. When I was going into the jungle, when I was doing I'm a Celebrity, so you sign a confidentiality clause or whatever, and they say you'll be in trouble if you tell anyone. I told everyone. I told taxi drivers, same thing again. How? Because I thought it's never going to get back to I'm a Celebrity. It's never going to get back to Lauren that I've told these people. So I can't tell the people that it's close to.
But that's not keeping a secret. It's not if it only
keeping
gets
a secret
back
from the people that will...
No, I see your logic.
Yeah, thanks.
I do see your logic, because if they never find out, then they're never going to... But why do you feel the need to tell people? I mean,
Because
people who are strangers...
It's always something good. It's always something good that I want to share with people, and you can't share it with the people that are closest to you.
So do you tell strangers bad stuff about people?
No.
No, you should not
bad
bitch
stuff.
it. No, you should not bitchy gossip.
Do you ever ask anyone to keep a secret for you? Would you ever go, oh,
That's a
you
good
know,
question.
Kay, don't mention this, but I'm... such and such. Yeah, I'm not going to...
Yeah, I might do.
I'm not going to go to that do with being...
You do actually,
yeah,
Linda, because you go, don't tell no one. Okay.
But, you know, to be fair, it's not... You know, if you're going to say to somebody, I'm going to tell you this, but don't tell anyone else... If you don't want anyone else to know, don't tell anyone yourself. Because you, the person who is telling the secret, is actually not keeping the secret because you're telling it. So if you really want to keep it secret... A, don't tell Linda, but B, probably just don't tell anybody.
Do you ever feel like you miss out, though, Linda, on stuff? Because there's some stuff we'll say, oh, God, whatever we do, we mustn't tell Linda.
Oh, no.
Can I just say, do you know the menopause can affect your hearing? Because they're telling us to shut up and you two are still chatting away. Never mind.
You go out and get that tree down.
She's a bit younger. That's it for today and for this week. Next week, some really interesting discussions on adoption and male postnatal depression. Some fabulous guests coming up too, including Downton's Elizabeth McGovern. Do you remember when we interviewed? Yes, we'll see you then.
Badgie Donna.
Badgie Donna. Badgie Donna.